Hello and welcome to today's video. This video is a speed draw of a drawing that I drew for my older sibling for Christmas. As you can see, I was originally going to start off with two of their OCs, however I changed my mind and instead I drew another one of their OCs that I'm a lot more familiar with. As you can tell by the title, their name is Neptune. I'm not entirely sure what Neptune is exactly, however I do know that she wears bandages, and so when I was kind of going about my day, trying to sleep actually, I decided that I wanted to draw her applying some of her bandages. And of course right now this is just a rough sketch that I am doing to fully flesh out the idea. The layer underneath it that was previously done was just something I quickly sketched out in the moment when I first thought of it, so that way I can come back later and remember what I had thought. As I mentioned earlier, this is one of the OCs that I actually recognize from childhood, and I remember the creation of Neptune, so I was like, oh hey, this would be fun. And so I did. And also, I was looking at the rough sketch that I had created, and I decided that she was looking down too much, and I wanted her to come off as a bit more confident. So when I was redrawing, I just wanted to have her head lifted up and have her shoulders back. However, I wasn't really liking how the head was turning out, so I just used the old one because I was really fond of that one. At this point, the old reference wasn't really helpful, but it was still a little handy for having an idea of what I wanted, I guess, keeping slightly on track of the bandage placement and the general idea. However, that hand took way too long, kind of. Around this point, I kind of decided that she was a bit of a mummy, which is why I made her really skinny and her ribs are very visible. However, I'm not entirely sure, as I said earlier, so I kind of made them a lot less obvious. These bandages took so long to do, but man, they were worth it in the end. Also, I was listening to a podcast while I was doing this, and so now I have like this one part of the podcast just connected to that one little bandage piece that drapes over her chest specifically. Like, I have little memories of some of the ones wrapped around her arms, blah blah blah, but like that one on the top of her chest is just the strongest memory, and it was so weird. Almost done with the bandages, woohoo! So the design that I was doing for her lower half was actually based off of someone else's drawing of Neptune that I saw. I thought it was pretty neat, so I went ahead and did that myself. At this point, I'm a little more satisfied with how she looks, and so I continue to do the background, and very soon I add colors. Woohoo! I wanted to put her in a little desert at nighttime because some of the images that were given to help give off her vibes were in fact desert dunes, and I thought having it nighttime would be very interesting. It would add a little contrast for the background, and it would give me a certain spot of lighting so I could test out my lighting and shading. Also, yes, I am aware that her skin matches with the background very well, but it's fixed very soon, I promise. I'll be honest, this entire video, I was watching at like 16 times speed, but once I hit here, where I was coloring all the bandages and trying to fill in all underneath all the lines, that's when I turned it up to the normal infinity speed thing, because that just would take so long to watch. And I had it at 16 times speed, so the video would be a little bit longer and easier to follow. But, you know, some things are just a little too long. And with that, the flat colors are done, and I can finally move on to the shading and lighting. I first started off with the desert background, was filling in the kind of blocking in the shadows with a kind of messy style, and then kind of coloring that in to kind of get the ripples in the sand a little better. I realize it's a little hard to kind of see what's going on as I go about things, especially with this, which is why I kind of added the note. And I've been adding notes throughout the whole video of what I'm doing, so it's a little easier to follow along and you know where to look in general, I guess. Already you can just see how much more the background and the skin pop out from each other, which is really nice. And now I'm just kind of doing the background, which was kind of fun. I liked seeing just how much more alive things felt the more that I added and the more details I kind of just put in general. This was my first time like fully rendering a whole background, and I'm gonna do like more complex shadows with the foreground here soon. And overall, I'm really proud of how this turned out. It was definitely a lot of experimental things, but I think it was really worth it. Here's that fancy foreground shading I mentioned. Don't worry, it does. I do fix it. And overall, this is a bit new of a thing for me. So I think it was kind of fun to experiment with and try to do. I know it's a little hard to see right now, but I'm currently adding lighting and glowing to the body to kind of show that it's coming from behind. And now I'm disappearing it, so that way I can work on shading other things. shading took a little bit of time. It was interesting trying to figure out how all of the shading would work with the background, and then I kind of gave up a little bit because my shading doesn't make a lot of logic. It kind of works for my mental projection, but it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. But I did try my best, adding a little bit of blush and stuff, making things look generally a little bit better. In case you have a little bit of a hard time seeing, I am coloring the red jewels on the little crown thing first before going to the gold. Man, and here I was thinking that the skin took me forever to shade, and then once I reached the bandages, those took so long. They look so bad until I blend them out. This piece really felt like a trust the process kind of thing, because I think it turns out really good, but man, there are some parts of this that are just not very great to look at. The program and the brushes that I used are going to be in the description, so be sure to check them out if you are curious. I actually had quite a bit of fun coloring the hair, surprisingly enough. I don't know, some people don't like it. But I really liked how it turned out, with especially the darker shading. I think that it gave it good depth. And with that, I am done. Thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye-bye!